Welcome back, my wisdom walkers. And for those of you who are new visiting my channel, Life Lessons Learned, my name is Sherry Brantley, and this is part two of So It Was About Race. Now, if you haven't seen part one, you'll want to see that. It's the previous video before this one. And it's going to talk about some experiences that I had, realizing that, in some cases, race does play a part in some people's decisions in life, which is, I would say, is fine, but others would be like, no, that's not fine. They can't do that. And I get that. But when I say it's fine, I mean, we can't mandate individual character. We just simply can't. We have laws, we have rules, we have policies within all organizations, but we can't make someone have integrity or have a good character. We can call them out when we see them doing something that they shouldn't be doing. But ultimately, either they have the right stuff or they don't. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the another incident that I had with the same executive director at the same um, place of employment. And again, I don't let these things alter my character or my integrity. So let's get into this. This was an organization that I worked at where we provided homes to low to moderate income families. So we didn't have any policies that were geared specifically toward race or gender or age or single people or couples or anything like that. Our main focus was assisting people that were low to moderate income. Now, it didn't matter if they were single moms or if it was a family. It could be, a mom, a dad, and kids. We didn't discriminate and say single fathers or single men couldn't get into the homes. It's, again, for low to moderate income families or people. Okay. So that was a great place to work at because I was actually able to assist people who had never even thought that they would be able to get into home ownership, the possibility and a path and a road to actually be able to do so. And these, I got to tell you guys, these were beautiful homes. They were homes that had been newly renovated, very spacious. Some of them were two, three, four-bedroom homes, two bathrooms, backyards, the works. And they were in a very nice, secure, neighborhood. So it was really a great joy to be able to work with families, meet new people, get them to see the possibility of becoming a homeowner. Now, our program did have certain um, how do I want to say, certain policies in place that we wanted the residents to be a part of. So part of that was being able to be welcomed into the neighborhood, and then of course welcome other new neighbors that were also getting into these homes. And we wanted them to participate in neighborhood activities. So just to explain, my whole uh, position there was to get, but I'll tell you this, one of the slogans I came up with while I worked there was putting the neighbor back into neighborhood. So we wanted the people to not just move into houses and stay secluded in their own spaces. We wanted them to get out, know their neighbors' kids. That way we get to keep a an area where folks do know each other and folks begin to care about each other and folks kind of look out for each other. So that way parents are knowing the other kids and that kind of thing. So as we were starting the program up in the beginning of the program, because it was, well, I shouldn't say because it was, but as I said, it was low to moderate income. So we were getting a lot of African American applicants who were like, hey, now we can get into home ownership. We can begin to, leave a legacy for our families and things like that. So the very first few, well, I shouldn't say few, several of the places that we had, we were getting, African American families in, which was great. It didn't matter to me what they were. My thing was let everyone go. Let's all have fun. Well, as the program began to pick up speed and get um, publicity for it, and we started getting more like newspaper articles and radio interviews and things like that, which I was the one doing because I'm the public speaker here. So, and I loved it, and was able to really get the information out. We started to get other um, cultures and to be participants of the program. So we were getting Caucasian families, Hispanic families, families from all different kinds of backgrounds. And I was like, yes, this is great. Well, after the program had so many houses occupied, we started to make connections with different companies that also wanted to be a part of this program and wanted their name to be associated with it because, it's a good thing. We're providing home ownership and getting camaraderie in the neighborhood and things like that. So we had a major appliance company that came to make a contract deal with us, and their deal was a sweet one. Okay, you guys. I mean, they offered to supply brand new, not used, not remodeled, not refurbished, stoves and refrigerators. So those appliances for the homes. I'm like, can this get any better? Now, I wasn't in one of the homes. You know, I was eligible to be in one, but at this point, I was, renting from um, renting. Just I'll say that. So at one point, I was able to, and I should say this was a rent to own type thing. So they would rent it for a certain amount of period of time. Part of their rent would be going towards the acquisition of the home. So if they were there like a year, I think they had either up to a year, they had a year, 18 months, or 24 months to rent and see if it was something that they wanted to do. And if they decided to do that, a portion of those would go towards, the closing costs and things like that. So it was a really good program. And at one point, I was able to get into one of the homes that I liked for me and my girls. So it was a very nice home. It was right around the corner from where I worked at, and everything was going well. So I was not just preaching about the program, but I was actually one of the participants of it, which was good. Well, this appliance store came to talk about the contract and everything in the houses that they would be putting the appliances in. And this executive director, the one that you will be able to see on the previous video that I have, part one of this, decided to have an addendum to the contract that the appliance store was presenting to us. Now, when you think about it, the appliance store had already had a contract, so there's no reason for it. Well, sometimes you will have an addendum if, cost acquisition or things like that. But this addendum that he, as executive director, decided to do had nothing to do with cutting costs, saving money, investing into the partnership with the appliance company. He decided to add that the people that would get the new appliances would be the ones that had recently acquired homes. Now, if you remember earlier, I said the very first applicants and homeowners were African American. As it became more successful, we started getting different races of people in. And so this was his way of making sure that the African American homes owners did not receive the new appliances and all the others would. Yeah, it was that blatant. And again, I'm like, either this guy is refusing to realize who he's working with from the other antics that he's pulled. And again, if you saw my video of my boss started bullying me, the friggin' Susie Sunshine one, and this previous one, which was, it is about race, part one, you would think he would say, well, she's still here. I can't get away with this with her. But no, no, you guys, that wasn't the case. And for me, because I don't see things in a racial tone, and let me explain that. I know racism exists, okay? So please don't fill my comments with, did she grow up in America? Or anything like that. And again, it's not just America. People like to think that America is the only country that practices racism. This planet practices it, okay? And racism isn't just a one-way street. Anyone can be racist, whether you're African American, Asian, white, Hispanic, Native American. We all have our own idiosyncrasies, and we all have our own thoughts and beliefs on race. Okay, so it's not like it's just a one one race deal. But anyway, back to this point. So I, of course, remember I'm the assistant to the executive director. So I see all the policies, all the contracts, all the addendums, all of the changes. I'm the one that actually records all of that. And we normally, if there's a question on something, we would may have to take it to the board of directors and have votes and things like that. But you best believe this was not something he wanted anyone to be voting on, okay? Because he really was thinking, well, I'll just put this in here and then they'll just do the appliances for these places. So once again, I went to his office and I said, I noticed that you were requesting this addendum be added to the contract for the appliances. And he was like, yeah, I just think that the people who have already been in their homes they already have those appliances and everything, and there's no reason for us to now backtrack and give them new appliances. And I said, well, everyone who we're giving appliances to have been in their homes, so that's going to be your argument, then we wouldn't be needing this contract. Everyone can just keep the appliances they have. Once again, face flushed red, not mine, his. And he was like, he probably was thinking, not this witch again. So, and you guys know me, I'm going to be straightforward, upfront. I say that in every video, but also respectful and not aggressive and not unruly and not, you know, any of those things. So he kind of let out a long sigh that went something like this. I'm like, yeah, breathe, inhale, exhale, let your thoughts percolate as to what the hell you're going to say to me about this. And again, he said, well, if we have them put them in all of the houses, it's going to be really expensive for them. I said, they're aware of the houses that we have. They're aware of the homeowners that we have in them. They were already apprised of all of that. So if they're willing to do that, we shouldn't have a problem with that. And it just so happened that one of the people who had purchased that one of our houses earlier was a single mother with three young children. And because of my role in the company, I had, remember I told you we're putting the neighbor back into neighborhood. So I was getting to know all of these people, getting to know their kids. And I was really developing a friendship with this one person. And yeah, it was personal. I wanted her to get new appliances. I mean, I wanted everyone to get new appliances. So remember, courage is being able to do the right thing no matter what the possible consequences could be. But for me, it wasn't about, oh, now I can do something for her or now I can do this. It really was the overall outlook of the program. And I'm saying everyone should get new appliances. Or, as he said, if it's for people who have not occupied the homes yet, which doesn't make sense, then no one gets them. So he could see the error of his ways again. And he kind of said, okay, yeah, you're right. He said, I'll, contact the organization and let them know that that addendum has been, it's not necessary. And we'll just allow them to gift us in the ways that they want to gift us with all of the homes that we have. So that was, I don't want to say another win for me because I was just, not, I shouldn't say just, but I was renting the home that I was in, but I hadn't actually um, agreed to purchase it yet. So I wasn't going to be able to get the new appliances anyway, which I was fine with. My appliances were fine. Some people, as I said before, the homes were beautiful and everything, and they had everything in good condition. So I was okay with all of that. And for me, speaking up or speaking out does not have to benefit me personally. If I'm doing something and I working for an organization and they're about to do something, I don't doesn't have to necessarily have to do with racism. Could be ageism or gender or anything that we should not be basing decisions on. Then I'm going to be the one to have my character, to speak up, speak out, and keep the integrity that I have for myself. So again, it's not about how I can benefit, but it really is about just doing the right thing first. If you do that first and foremost, we don't have to worry about other issues. And again, just as in my previous video, can you imagine if later on down the road, say I didn't speak up, and later on down the road, someone finds out through our records or through whatever that certain families were given the new appliances and others were not. And then we wouldn't be able to justify that. And then if they asked me, what would I say? Oh, yeah, I knew that was going on, but I just worked there. Or I knew that was going on, but that was the executive director. What could I do? And that's one of the things that I still to this day don't understand when people like work somewhere 20, 25, 30 years, and then after they retire or after they quit, they start blowing the whistle. I'm like, so you were afraid of losing your job or afraid of your income, being changed or whatever the case may be. So you let BS go for all of that time, and now that it can impact or infect you, now you want to speak out. And I get it. I know some people have such a great amount of fear that the first thing they're thinking of is, well, mm, what if I lose my job or what if I do this? And you have to realize those were possibilities for me as well. I mean, maybe this guy could be like, I'm so tired of this woman talking about she has character and integrity. I need to get rid of her ass. But I never let that be the impetus for whether I do the right thing. And again, as you'll see in some of my upcoming videos, you'll see where it was where it could have been very detrimental for me to speak out about something that was going on either with family members or colleagues or neighbors. Um, it's I just don't allow other people's lack of integrity make me decide what I'm going to do in a certain circumstance or certain situation. So again, this is life lessons learned. I would love for some of you to share instances where you, against all odds, spoke up and did the right thing, or in some cases, and there's no judgment here, where you were too fearful to do so, and why, and what lessons you learned from that. Now, you guys all know my mantra knowledge is in the knowing, but wisdom is in the doing. So, you hear a lot of people say knowledge is power. It's only power if you utilize it. Just knowing something and not acting on it means nothing at all. So, this is Sherry. For those of you who are so inclined, please subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks. Bye bye.